Hello and welcome to Woo English. In this story, you'll learn English through clear and simple sentences. We encourage you to write comments and share your thoughts. If you enjoy the story, please press the like button to reward us. It really helps us out. Remember, the purpose of this story is educational. We want to help you improve your English while enjoying an exciting tale. We do not encourage or glorify the actions of the characters involved. Let's begin the journey together. Chapter 1. Early Life and Education. In the bustling city of New York, on a spring day in 1904, Robert Oppenheimer was born into a world full of possibilities. His family lived in a comfortable apartment in Manhattan, surrounded by books, art, and music. Robert's father, Julius, was a successful textile importer, and his mother, Ella, was an artist. Their home was always filled with intellectual conversations and artistic endeavors. From a young age, Robert was curious about everything. He would spend hours exploring the parks of New York, collecting rocks, and asking questions about the world around him. His parents encouraged his curiosity, providing him with books and taking him to museums. Robert's fascination with learning grew with each passing day. When Robert turned 5, his parents enrolled him in the Ethical Culture School. This was not an ordinary school. It was founded on the principles of ethical education and intellectual freedom. The teachers at the school encouraged students to think critically, ask questions, and explore their interests. Robert thrived in this environment. He was a quiet, introspective boy, but his mind was always racing with thoughts and ideas. One day, in a science class, Robert's teacher demonstrated a simple experiment with magnets. The young boy was mesmerized by the way the magnets attracted and repelled each other. "How does it work?" Robert asked. His teacher smiled and explained the basics of magnetism, but this only fueled Robert's curiosity. He wanted to know more, to understand the invisible forces that governed the world. Robert's love for literature was just as strong as his interest in science. He devoured books, from classic novels to scientific journals. He was particularly fond of the works of Albert Einstein, whose theories of relativity fascinated him. By the age of 12, Robert was reading at a college level, and his teachers often found it challenging to keep up with his insatiable thirst for knowledge. As Robert grew older, his interests became more focused. He was particularly drawn to chemistry and physics. He would spend hours in his room, conducting experiments and writing down his observations in a notebook. His parents watched with pride as their son's passion for science blossomed. When it was time for Robert to attend college, there was no question that he would go to Harvard University. It was one of the best universities in the world, and it offered the academic challenges that Robert craved. In 1922, at the age of 18, Robert left New York for Cambridge, Massachusetts, where Harvard is located. At Harvard, Robert majored in chemistry, but his interests were broad. He took classes in literature, philosophy, and mathematics. He was particularly fascinated by quantum mechanics, a new and exciting field of physics that was just beginning to emerge. Robert's professors were impressed by his intellect and dedication. He was not just a student. He was a scholar, deeply engaged in the pursuit of knowledge. Despite his academic success, Robert faced challenges. He was often shy and reserved, finding it difficult to connect with his peers. He preferred the company of books and ideas to social gatherings. However, he did make a few close friends, who shared his passion for science and literature. Together, they would spend long evenings, discussing the mysteries of the universe and debating philosophical ideas. One of Robert's favorite professors at Harvard was Percy Bridgman, a renowned physicist known for his work on high-pressure physics. Bridgman recognized Robert's potential and took him under his wing. He encouraged Robert to pursue his interests in theoretical physics and introduced him to the works of Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg, pioneers in the field of quantum mechanics. Under Bridgman's guidance, Robert began to develop his own theories and ideas. He wrote several research papers that were published in scientific journals, gaining recognition in the academic community. His future in science seemed bright and full of promise. As Robert's time at Harvard came to an end, he faced a difficult decision. He had been accepted to study at the University of Cambridge in England, where he would have the opportunity to work with some of the greatest physicists of his time. It was a chance to further his education and contribute to the cutting-edge research in quantum mechanics. However, it also meant leaving his family and the familiar surroundings of New York and Harvard. After much contemplation, Robert decided to take the opportunity. In the fall of 1925, he boarded a ship bound for England, filled with excitement and anticipation for the new chapter in his life. He knew that the journey ahead would be challenging, but he was ready to embrace it. Robert Oppenheimer's early life and education laid the foundation for his remarkable career in science. His intellectual curiosity, love for literature, and passion for discovery drove him to explore the frontiers of knowledge. Little did he know that his journey would lead him to become one of the most influential scientists of the 20th century, shaping the course of history with his contributions to the development of the atomic bomb. Chapter 2: Journey to Cambridge and Göttingen. The journey across the Atlantic Ocean was long and full of anticipation. Robert Oppenheimer, a young man with a brilliant mind, was on his way to Cambridge University in England. It was the year 1925, and the world of physics was buzzing with new discoveries. Robert, eager to be part of this excitement, left behind the familiar streets of New York and the halls of Harvard University. Arriving in Cambridge, Robert was struck by the ancient buildings and the atmosphere of intellectual pursuit. Cambridge University was one of the most prestigious institutions in the world, and Robert was here to study under some of the greatest minds in physics. He felt both thrilled and nervous. Robert's mentor at Cambridge was Patrick Blackett, a renowned physicist. However, their relationship was strained. Blackett was more interested in experimental physics, while Robert's passion lay in theoretical physics. Despite this mismatch, Robert was determined to make the most of his time at Cambridge. One day, while working in the laboratory, Robert became frustrated with an experiment. He was more interested in the mathematical theories behind the experiments than in the practical work itself. He often felt isolated, struggling to fit in with his peers and professors. Yet his determination never wavered. He knew that understanding the theories would unlock the secrets of the universe. During this time, Robert met several other young physicists who shared his interest in quantum mechanics. They spent hours discussing the latest theories and ideas. These conversations ignited Robert's imagination and fueled his desire to delve deeper into the mysteries of the atomic world. After a year at Cambridge, Robert decided he needed a change. He wanted to work with scientists who were more aligned with his interests. He applied to the University of Göttingen in Germany, a leading center for theoretical physics. His application was accepted, and he set off for Germany with renewed hope. Göttingen was a vibrant city, known for its rich academic tradition. At the university, Robert found himself in the company of brilliant physicists, including Max Born, who would become his mentor. Born was a pioneer in quantum mechanics, and he welcomed Robert with open arms. In Göttingen, Robert thrived. He quickly became part of a group of young scientists who were pushing the boundaries of physics. Among them were Werner Heisenberg and Wolfgang Pauli, both of whom would go on to make significant contributions to the field. The atmosphere at Göttingen was electric, filled with the excitement of discovery. Robert worked tirelessly, often late into the night. He was particularly fascinated by the wave-particle duality of electrons, a concept that was central to quantum mechanics. He wrote several papers on the subject, which were published in prestigious scientific journals. His work gained recognition, and he started to make a name for himself in the world of physics. One of the most significant moments of Robert's time in Göttingen was when he attended a lecture by Niels Bohr, a leading figure in quantum mechanics. Bohr's ideas were revolutionary, challenging the traditional understanding of physics. Robert was captivated by Bohr's lecture and was inspired to explore new theoretical approaches. During his stay in Göttingen, Robert also developed a close friendship with Paul Dirac, another prominent physicist. They would often take long walks, discussing complex theories and sharing their thoughts on the future of physics. These intellectual exchanges were invaluable to Robert, helping him to refine his ideas and broaden his understanding. In 1927, Robert completed his PhD at the University of Göttingen. His thesis on quantum mechanics was highly praised by his professors, and he graduated with honors. This achievement marked the beginning of his career as a theoretical physicist. He was now ready to return to the United States and contribute to the rapidly evolving field of physics. Before leaving Europe, Robert took the opportunity to visit several other scientific institutions. He traveled to Zurich to meet with Erwin Schrödinger, whose wave equation was a cornerstone of quantum mechanics. He also spent time in Copenhagen with Niels Bohr, further deepening his understanding of the subject. Robert's journey to Cambridge and Göttingen was a transformative experience. It shaped his intellectual development and set the stage for his future contributions to science. He had encountered some of the greatest minds of his time, and their influence would stay with him throughout his career. As Robert boarded the ship back to the United States, he reflected on the past few years. He had faced many challenges, but he had also achieved great things. His journey was far from over, but he felt ready to take on whatever lay ahead. He was eager to return to America, where he would soon become a key figure in the development of atomic energy. Robert Oppenheimer's time in Europe was a crucial chapter in his life. It was a period of intense learning, growth, and discovery. The knowledge he gained and the connections he made would prove invaluable in the years to come. Little did he know that his work would soon lead him to one of the most significant scientific projects in history, the Manhattan Project. For now, as the ship sailed across the ocean, Robert looked forward to reuniting with his family and sharing his experiences with them. He felt a sense of accomplishment and a deep curiosity about the future. With his brilliant mind and relentless drive, Robert Oppenheimer was ready to change the world. Chapter 3: Academic Career in the United States. Robert Oppenheimer stepped off the ship in New York, feeling both excited and determined. After years of studying in Europe, he was back in the United States, ready to share his knowledge and pursue new scientific discoveries. It was 1929, and the world of physics was rapidly evolving. Robert knew that he had a lot to contribute. Soon after his return, Robert received an offer to teach at the University of California, Berkeley. Berkeley was a vibrant academic community, known for its strong science programs. Robert accepted the offer and moved to California. He was eager to start his new role as a professor and researcher. At Berkeley, Robert was assigned to teach a course in quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics was a relatively new field of physics that dealt with the behavior of particles at the atomic and subatomic levels. Robert was one of the few experts in this field, and his students were eager to learn from him. Robert's teaching style was unique. He was passionate about the subject and had a talent for explaining complex ideas in a way that was easy to understand. His lectures were filled with energy and enthusiasm. Students admired his deep understanding of the material and his ability to inspire them to think critically. One day, during a lecture, Robert was explaining the concept of wave-particle duality. "Imagine a particle that can act both as a wave and as a solid object," he said, drawing diagrams on the blackboard. This is the strange but fascinating nature of quantum mechanics. The students listened intently, captivated by his words. In addition to teaching, Robert was also dedicated to his research. He spent countless hours in the laboratory, working on experiments and developing new theories. One of his major interests was in nuclear physics, the study of the components and behavior of atomic nuclei. This field had the potential to unlock new sources of energy and lead to groundbreaking discoveries. Robert's work at Berkeley soon caught the attention of other physicists. He published several important papers on quantum theory and nuclear physics, gaining a reputation as a brilliant and innovative thinker. His contributions were recognized by his peers, and he was invited to speak at conferences and collaborate on research projects. In 1930, Robert received another exciting opportunity. He was offered a position at the California Institute of Technology, commonly known as Caltech. Caltech was home to many of the leading scientists of the time, and Robert was thrilled to join their ranks. He decided to split his time between Berkeley and Caltech, teaching and conducting research at both institutions. At Caltech, Robert worked closely with other renowned physicists, including Linus Pauling and Richard Tolman. They collaborated on various research projects, pushing the boundaries of what was known about the atomic world. Robert's expertise in quantum mechanics and nuclear physics made him a valuable member of the team. One of Robert's most significant contributions during this time was his work on the theory of electron-positron pairs. He proposed that when high-energy photons interact with atomic nuclei, they can create pairs of electrons and positrons. This idea was groundbreaking and provided important insights into the behavior of particles at high energies. Despite his busy schedule, Robert always made time for his students. He believed that teaching was just as important as research. He often invited students to his home for informal discussions and study sessions. These gatherings were lively and intellectually stimulating, fostering a sense of community and collaboration. In the classroom, Robert continued to inspire his students. One day, he introduced the concept of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. In quantum mechanics, we cannot know both the position and the momentum of a particle with absolute certainty, he explained. This uncertainty is a fundamental part of the quantum world. The students were amazed by the idea and eager to learn more. As the years went by, Robert's reputation as a leading physicist grew. He received numerous awards and honors for his work, and his research was cited by scientists around the world. However, he remained humble and focused on his passion for discovery and education. In 1939, a new and alarming development occurred. Scientists in Germany had discovered nuclear fission, the process of splitting an atomic nucleus to release a vast amount of energy. This discovery had significant implications, not only for energy production, but also for the potential creation of powerful weapons. Robert, along with many other physicists, realized the importance of this discovery and its potential impact on the world. Robert's work took on a new sense of urgency. He began to explore the possibilities of harnessing nuclear energy, both for peaceful purposes and for national defense. His research was instrumental in laying the groundwork for what would later become the Manhattan Project, the secret U.S. effort to develop the atomic bomb during World War II. Throughout these years, Robert continued to balance his roles as a teacher and a researcher. He remained dedicated to his students, always encouraging them to think critically and explore new ideas. His passion for science and his commitment to education left a lasting impact on everyone he taught. Robert Oppenheimer's academic career in the United States was marked by significant achievements and contributions to the field of physics. His work on quantum theory and nuclear physics helped to shape the course of scientific research and paved the way for future discoveries. As he looked to the future, Robert knew that his journey was far from over. There were still many mysteries to unravel and challenges to face, but he was ready to continue his pursuit of knowledge and innovation. Robert Oppenheimer's story is one of dedication, curiosity, and a relentless quest for understanding. His contributions to science and education have left an indelible mark on the world, inspiring future generations to explore the wonders of the universe. As he continued his journey, Robert remained driven by the same passion that had guided him from the beginning, a passion to uncover the secrets of the atomic world and to share his discoveries with others. Chapter 4: The Manhattan Project begins. The world was at war. In 1939, World War II had engulfed Europe, and the United States was on the brink of entering the conflict. In the midst of this global turmoil, a group of scientists made a shocking discovery in Germany: the splitting of the uranium atom. This process, called nuclear fission, released an enormous amount of energy. The possibility of creating a powerful new weapon from this discovery alarmed many people, including scientists in the United States. Among these concerned scientists was Robert Oppenheimer. By now, Oppenheimer was a well-known physicist, respected for his work in quantum mechanics and nuclear physics. He understood the potential of nuclear fission and the dangers it posed if used for destructive purposes. When Albert Einstein and physicist Leo Szilard sent a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, warning him of the potential for a German atomic bomb, the U.S. government took notice. In 1942, the United States decided to start a top-secret project to develop its own atomic bomb. This project was called the Manhattan Project. Its goal was to create a bomb before Germany could. The project needed the brightest minds in science, and Robert Oppenheimer was chosen to be the scientific director. His task was to bring together scientists from all over the country to work on this urgent and complex mission. Oppenheimer faced many challenges from the start. The first task was to find a suitable location for the main laboratory. This place needed to be remote and secure. After much searching, Oppenheimer chose a site in the desert of New Mexico. It was a secluded area near a town called Los Alamos. There, the government built a secret laboratory, which became known as the Los Alamos Laboratory. Scientists and their families moved to Los Alamos, creating a small, isolated community. Security was extremely tight, and everyone had to keep their work a secret, even from their loved ones. Despite these conditions, there was a sense of urgency and purpose. The scientists knew that their work could change the course of the war. Oppenheimer's role was not just to lead the scientific research, but also to manage the people and resources needed for the project. He had to coordinate the efforts of many different teams, each working on different aspects of the bomb. These teams included experts in physics, chemistry, engineering, and materials science. Bringing together such a diverse group was not easy, but Oppenheimer was determined. One of the biggest scientific challenges was figuring out how to create a chain reaction. This reaction was needed to release the energy stored in the uranium or plutonium atoms. The scientists had to design a device that could start and control this reaction. They experimented with different designs, materials, and methods, often facing setbacks and failures. Oppenheimer worked tirelessly, often spending long hours in the lab and attending countless meetings. He was deeply involved in the scientific discussions and made significant contributions to solving many problems. His leadership was crucial in keeping the project on track and motivating the team. As the project progressed, ethical questions began to weigh heavily on Oppenheimer's mind. He knew that the bomb they were creating would cause massive destruction and loss of life. He struggled with the morality of building such a weapon, even though it was meant to end the war and save lives in the long run. These dilemmas caused him great inner conflict, but he continued his work, driven by the urgency of the war. By 1945, the Manhattan Project had made significant progress. The team at Los Alamos had developed a working design for the bomb. They decided to conduct a test to see if it would work. This test was called the Trinity Test, and it took place in the desert near Alamogordo, New Mexico, on July 16, 1945. The night before the test, Oppenheimer hardly slept. He knew that this moment would change the world forever. Early in the morning, as the sun began to rise, the team gathered to witness the test. They set up the bomb on a tower and moved to a safe distance. As the countdown began, the tension was palpable. At precisely 5:30 a.m., the bomb detonated. The explosion was more powerful than anyone had imagined. A blinding flash of light lit up the sky, followed by a massive mushroom cloud. The shockwave could be felt miles away. The scientists watched in awe and fear, realizing the magnitude of what they had created. Oppenheimer later recalled a line from the Bhagavad Gita, a Hindu scripture. "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." He felt a deep sense of responsibility and sorrow, knowing the destructive power of the bomb. The test had been a success, but it also marked the beginning of a new and terrifying era. Shortly after the Trinity test, the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan, one on Hiroshima and another on Nagasaki. The devastation was immense, and Japan soon surrendered, bringing an end to World War II. The Manhattan Project had achieved its goal, but at a great cost. The end of the war brought relief, but also reflection. Oppenheimer and his colleagues had created a weapon of unprecedented power. The world would never be the same, and the ethical implications of their work continued to haunt them. Oppenheimer became an advocate for the control of nuclear weapons, hoping to prevent their use in future conflicts. The Manhattan Project was a turning point in history. It showcased the incredible potential of scientific research, but also the need for ethical consideration and responsibility. Robert Oppenheimer's leadership and vision were instrumental in the project's success. His journey from the theoretical world of quantum mechanics to the practical yet perilous world of nuclear weapons exemplifies the complex relationship between science and society. As the dust settled from the war, Oppenheimer's thoughts turned to the future. He knew that science would continue to advance, and with it, new challenges and opportunities would arise. He hoped that humanity would use its knowledge wisely, for the betterment of all. Oppenheimer's story is one of brilliance and conflict, a testament to the power of the human mind and the weight of human responsibility. The Manhattan Project was just one chapter in his life, but it was a chapter that left an indelible mark on the world. Chapter 5. Life in Los Alamos. In the quiet deserts of New Mexico, a secret city sprang to life. This place was Los Alamos, a remote location chosen for its isolation. Here, some of the brightest minds in science gathered to work on the Manhattan Project, the mission to build the atomic bomb. Robert Oppenheimer was at the heart of this mission, leading the team of scientists. When Oppenheimer first arrived in Los Alamos, the area was mostly empty. There were a few old buildings and lots of open space. The first task was to build a laboratory where the scientists could work. It had to be done quickly and efficiently. Within months, a new town emerged, complete with laboratories, houses, and other necessary facilities. Life in Los Alamos was unlike anything Oppenheimer had experienced. It was a mix of urgency and secrecy. The scientists, their families, and the military personnel all lived together in this isolated community. Everyone had to keep the work a secret. They couldn't talk about it outside the lab, not even with their families. Despite the secrecy, there was a strong sense of purpose. Everyone knew that their work was crucial for the war effort. The scientists worked long hours, often late into the night. They were driven by the urgency of the mission and the desire to make a significant contribution to science. Oppenheimer's leadership was vital in this environment. He had to manage not only the scientific work, but also the people. Many of the scientists were brilliant, but also had strong personalities and different opinions. Oppenheimer's role was to keep them focused and working together. One of the first challenges was building the facilities. The laboratory needed to be equipped with advanced scientific instruments. Oppenheimer worked closely with engineers and construction workers to ensure that everything was ready. This was no small task, but his determination and organizational skills made it possible. Once the laboratory was up and running, the real work began. The team at Los Alamos was divided into different groups, each working on a specific aspect of the bomb. There were physicists, chemists, and engineers, all collaborating to solve the complex problems they faced. Oppenheimer was in the middle of it all. He held daily meetings to discuss progress and address any issues. His ability to understand and integrate different areas of science was crucial. He often moved between groups, offering advice and solving problems. His presence was a source of inspiration and motivation for the team. Life in Los Alamos was intense. The work was challenging, and the stakes were high. The scientists had to figure out how to create a chain reaction that would release a massive amount of energy. This involved experimenting with different materials and designs. There were many failures and setbacks, but each one brought them closer to their goal. Despite the pressure, there were moments of camaraderie and even fun. the scientists and their families formed a close-knit community. They celebrated holidays together and organized social events. These moments of normalcy helped them cope with the stress of their work. Oppenheimer also made sure to support the scientists in other ways. He arranged for lectures and discussions to keep everyone intellectually engaged. These sessions often sparked new ideas and approaches. He understood that a stimulating environment was essential for innovation. One of the most memorable events was the visit of Niels Bohr, a famous physicist from Denmark. Bohr's insights were invaluable, and his presence was a morale booster for the team. Oppenheimer and Bohr spent many hours discussing the theoretical aspects of the bomb. These discussions helped refine the design and move the project forward. As the months passed, the work at Los Alamos intensified. The team was getting closer to a breakthrough. They had developed a design that showed promise, but they needed to test it. This led to the planning of the Trinity test, the first test of an atomic bomb. The preparation for the test was a monumental task. Everything had to be perfect. The team set up the test site in the desert near Alamogordo, New Mexico. They built a tower to hold the bomb and installed instruments to measure the explosion. Oppenheimer's leadership was again crucial during this time. He oversaw the preparations and made sure that everything was on track. The pressure was immense, but he remained calm and focused. His ability to stay composed under stress was a source of strength for the team. Finally, the day of the test arrived. It was July 16, 1945. The scientists gathered early in the morning, anxious and excited. As the countdown began, the tension was palpable. At precisely 5:30 a.m., the bomb detonated. The explosion was more powerful than anyone had imagined. The sky lit up with a brilliant flash, and a massive mushroom cloud rose into the air. The success of the Trinity test was a turning point. It proved that the bomb worked, and it marked the culmination of years of hard work and dedication. The scientists at Los Alamos had achieved something extraordinary. However, the success also brought a sense of foreboding. They knew that the bomb would soon be used in the war, and its destructive power was immense. For Oppenheimer, the success of the Manhattan Project was a mix of pride and sorrow. He had led his team to achieve a remarkable scientific feat, but he was also aware of the devastating impact the bomb would have. He felt a deep responsibility for the consequences of his work. Life in Los Alamos was a unique chapter in Oppenheimer's life. It was a time of intense work, collaboration, and extraordinary achievement. The community that formed there was like no other, united by a common purpose and a sense of urgency. Oppenheimer's leadership and vision were key to the project's success, and his experiences at Los Alamos shaped his views on science and responsibility. Chapter 6: The Trinity Test. It was the early hours of July 16, 1945. In the New Mexico desert, a group of scientists gathered nervously. They were about to test the first atomic bomb, an event that would be known as the Trinity test. Robert Oppenheimer, the leader of the Manhattan Project, stood among them, feeling the weight of this momentous occasion. The preparations for the test had taken months. The bomb was a complex device, filled with delicate components. The scientists had worked tirelessly, assembling it piece by piece. They had conducted numerous smaller tests to ensure that everything would go smoothly. Now, it was time to see if their work had paid off. The test site was in the Jornada del Muerto desert, a remote area chosen for its isolation. The bomb, nicknamed Gadget, was placed atop a 100-foot steel tower. Around it, various instruments were set up to measure the explosion. The scientists needed to gather as much data as possible to understand the bomb's power. As the night wore on, the tension among the team grew. Oppenheimer moved through the crowd, offering words of encouragement. He knew that everyone was nervous. This test was the culmination of years of hard work, and the stakes were incredibly high. If the bomb failed, it would be a major setback. If it succeeded, it would change the course of history. At 5:10 a.m., the countdown began. The scientists moved to their observation points, some several miles away. They wore special goggles to protect their eyes from the intense light of the explosion. Oppenheimer joined a small group in a bunker, feeling a mix of excitement and dread. As the countdown reached 0, there was a brief moment of silence. Then, a blinding flash of light filled the sky. The bomb had detonated. The explosion was far more powerful than anyone had anticipated. A massive fireball rose into the air, followed by a mushroom-shaped cloud. The shockwave rattled the ground, even at a great distance. The scientists watched in awe, their faces illuminated by the brilliant light. Some cheered, others stood in stunned silence. The power of the bomb was both thrilling and terrifying. They had succeeded in creating the most powerful weapon ever known. Oppenheimer stood quietly, absorbing the magnitude of what had just happened. He recalled a line from the Bhagavad Gita, a Hindu scripture. "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The words echoed in his mind, capturing the dual nature of their achievement. They had unlocked a tremendous force, but at what cost? As the fireball subsided, the scientists began to collect data. They measured the radiation levels, the size of the crater, and the extent of the damage. The results confirmed that the bomb was even more powerful than their calculations had predicted. The success of the Trinity test meant that the atomic bomb was now a reality. The emotional reactions among the scientists were varied. For some, there was a sense of triumph. They had achieved something extraordinary, pushing the boundaries of science. For others, there was a deep sense of unease. They knew that this weapon would bring immense destruction and loss of life. Oppenheimer himself felt conflicted. He was proud of his team's accomplishment, but he also understood the gravity of their creation. The bomb would soon be used in the war, and its impact would be devastating. He hoped that its use would lead to the end of the conflict and the beginning of a more peaceful world. After the test, the team returned to Los Alamos. There was a mixture of celebration and reflection. They had done what they set out to do, but the implications were profound. Oppenheimer held meetings to discuss the results and the next steps. The data from the test would be used to refine the bomb design and prepare for its use in combat. In the days following the Trinity test, news of the success was shared with key government officials. President Harry S. Truman was informed, and plans were quickly made to use the bomb against Japan. The goal was to force a swift end to the war and save lives that would be lost in a prolonged conflict. On August 6, 1945, the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, Japan. The destruction was immense, and the loss of life was staggering. 3 days later, a second bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. Japan soon surrendered, bringing World War II to an end. The use of the atomic bomb had achieved its intended effect, but it also marked the beginning of a new and dangerous era. The Trinity test was a turning point in history. It demonstrated the incredible power of nuclear energy, but it also highlighted the ethical and moral questions that come with such power. Oppenheimer and his team had created a weapon that could bring about both peace and destruction. The responsibility of this knowledge weighed heavily on them. For Oppenheimer, the success of the Trinity test was both a professional triumph and a personal burden. He had led his team to accomplish something unprecedented, but he also knew that their creation had the potential to cause great harm. He became an advocate for the control and regulation of nuclear weapons, hoping to prevent their misuse in the future. The story of the Trinity test is a story of scientific achievement, human ingenuity, and the complex nature of progress. It shows how the pursuit of knowledge can lead to incredible discoveries, but also how those discoveries can have far-reaching and unintended consequences. The scientists at Los Alamos had pushed the boundaries of what was possible, and their work would continue to shape the world for generations to come. Chapter 7. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. On the morning of August 6, 1945, the world witnessed an event that would change history forever. The first atomic bomb, developed by the scientists of the Manhattan Project, was dropped on the city of Hiroshima, Japan. This bomb, called Little Boy, exploded with a force equivalent to 15,000 tons of TNT. The destruction was immediate and overwhelming. Robert Oppenheimer, the scientific director of the Manhattan Project, had known that this day was coming. He and his team had worked tirelessly to create the bomb, understanding its potential to end the war swiftly. But nothing could have prepared him for the news that followed the bombing of Hiroshima. The city was almost completely destroyed. Buildings were flattened, and fires raged everywhere. Tens of thousands of people were killed instantly, and many more were injured. The blast generated a heat so intense that it caused severe burns to anyone nearby. Those who survived faced the terrifying effects of radiation sickness, an illness caused by the bomb's radioactive fallout. 3 days later, on August 9, 1945, a second bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. This bomb, called Fat Man, was even more powerful than the first. It exploded with the force of 21,000 tons of TNT. Again, the destruction was immense. The city was devastated, and thousands more lives were lost. When Oppenheimer heard the news of the bombings, he felt a deep sense of sorrow. He had always known that the bomb would cause great destruction, but the reality was far worse than he had imagined. The images of the devastated cities and the suffering of the people haunted him. Oppenheimer and the other scientists at Los Alamos had believed that the bomb would end the war quickly and save lives by avoiding a prolonged conflict. In that sense, their goal was achieved. On August 15, 1945, Japan announced its surrender, bringing an end to World War II. There was relief and celebration in many parts of the world. The war was over, and the long years of fighting had finally come to an end. However, the moral implications of using such a powerful and destructive weapon were profound. Oppenheimer was deeply troubled by the devastation caused by the bombs. He understood that their creation had changed the nature of warfare forever. The atomic bomb was not just a weapon. It was a symbol of humanity's ability to destroy itself. After the war, Oppenheimer became an advocate for the control of nuclear weapons. He believed that such powerful weapons should never be used again. He spoke out about the need for international cooperation and regulation to prevent nuclear proliferation. He wanted the world to understand the dangers of nuclear weapons and to work together to ensure they were never used again. In October 1945, Oppenheimer met with President Harry S. Truman to discuss the future of nuclear weapons. He expressed his concerns about the moral implications and the need for control. Truman, however, was less receptive to Oppenheimer's warnings. The president saw the bomb as a powerful tool for maintaining peace and security. Despite this, Oppenheimer continued to advocate for nuclear disarmament. He gave numerous lectures and wrote articles, emphasizing the importance of responsible use of nuclear technology. He worked with the Atomic Energy Commission, hoping to influence policy and promote peaceful uses of atomic energy. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki left a lasting legacy. They marked the beginning of the nuclear age, an era defined by the threat of atomic warfare. The cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki became symbols of the devastating power of nuclear weapons and the need for peace and disarmament. For Oppenheimer, the creation and use of the atomic bomb was a complex and deeply personal journey. He had led the effort to develop the bomb, believing it was necessary to end the war. But he also recognized the immense responsibility that came with such power. He spent the rest of his life reflecting on the moral and ethical implications of his work. The story of Hiroshima and Nagasaki is a reminder of the destructive potential of science and technology. It underscores the importance of using knowledge wisely and ethically. Oppenheimer's experience serves as a cautionary tale about the responsibilities of scientists and the impact of their work on society. In the years following the bombings, efforts were made to rebuild Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Both cities became centers for peace and education about the dangers of nuclear weapons. Survivors, known as hibakusha, shared their stories to ensure that future generations would understand the horrors of nuclear war and work towards a more peaceful world. Oppenheimer's reaction to the bombings was complex. He felt pride in the scientific achievement, but also deep remorse for the destruction and loss of life. His legacy is one of brilliance and responsibility, a testament to the power of science and the importance of ethical considerations in its application. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are a pivotal chapter in the history of the 20th century. They highlight the potential for both great advancement and great destruction that comes with scientific progress. Oppenheimer's journey from the laboratory to the world stage reflects the challenges and dilemmas faced by scientists in an increasingly complex world. As we reflect on this chapter in history, we are reminded of the need for careful consideration and responsible action in all scientific endeavors. The lessons of Hiroshima and Nagasaki continue to resonate, reminding us of the profound impact that our choices can have on the world. Chapter 8: Post-War America. The war was over and the world was trying to rebuild and recover. For Robert Oppenheimer, the end of World War II marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life. He had played a crucial role in the development of the atomic bomb, and now, in the post-war world, his expertise was in high demand. Oppenheimer became a public figure, known not just for his scientific achievements, but also for his views on nuclear policy and international control. He was appointed as the chairman of the General Advisory Committee to the Atomic Energy Commission, AEC, a new government body responsible for overseeing nuclear energy and weapons. In this role, Oppenheimer advised the government on the development and use of nuclear technology. He believed strongly in the need for international control of nuclear weapons to prevent their proliferation and misuse. He argued that without strict regulation, the world could face the threat of a nuclear arms race. One of the key issues that Oppenheimer faced was the development of the hydrogen bomb, also known as the H-bomb. This bomb was much more powerful than the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Some scientists and military leaders believed that developing the H-bomb was necessary for national security. However, Oppenheimer had serious reservations. In meetings with government officials, Oppenheimer voiced his concerns. He believed that creating such a powerful weapon would only escalate tensions and increase the risk of a catastrophic nuclear war. He argued for focusing on nuclear energy for peaceful purposes and promoting international cooperation to control nuclear weapons. Oppenheimer's views were controversial, and not everyone agreed with him. Some people saw him as a visionary, while others viewed him as an obstacle to national security. Despite the criticism, Oppenheimer continued to speak out for what he believed was right. In 1947, Oppenheimer accepted a new position as the director of the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey. The institute was a prestigious center for theoretical research, attracting some of the brightest minds in science, mathematics, and philosophy. Oppenheimer's leadership helped to make the institute a hub of intellectual activity. At Princeton, Oppenheimer worked alongside renowned scientists such as Albert Einstein and John von Neumann. He encouraged interdisciplinary research and fostered an environment where scholars could freely exchange ideas. Under his guidance, the institute became a place where important scientific and philosophical questions were explored. Despite his busy schedule at the institute, Oppenheimer remained actively involved in public debates about nuclear policy. He wrote articles, gave lectures, and participated in discussions about the future of nuclear technology. He believed that scientists had a responsibility to engage with society and help shape policies that would benefit humanity. One of Oppenheimer's key messages was the need for transparency and communication. He argued that the public had a right to know about the risks and benefits of nuclear technology. He believed that informed citizens could help prevent the misuse of scientific discoveries. During this time, Oppenheimer also faced personal challenges. His outspoken views on nuclear policy and his opposition to the H-bomb made him a target of political attacks. Some people questioned his loyalty to the United States, and he was accused of having communist sympathies. These accusations led to a series of security hearings that put his reputation and career at risk. In 1954, Oppenheimer was called before the Atomic Energy Commission for a security hearing. The hearing was intense and highly publicized. Oppenheimer defended himself, but the process was emotionally draining and took a toll on him. In the end, the AEC revoked his security clearance, effectively ending his role as a government advisor. Despite this setback, Oppenheimer continued to contribute to science and public discourse. He returned to his work at the Institute for Advanced Study and continued to write and speak about the importance of ethical considerations in science. He remained committed to the idea that scientific progress should be guided by moral principles. Oppenheimer's views on nuclear weapons and international control were influential, even if they were not always popular. He believed that the world needed to find ways to use scientific knowledge for the common good and to prevent the horrors of war. His advocacy for disarmament and international cooperation resonated with many people around the world. In his later years, Oppenheimer received numerous honors and awards for his contributions to science and his efforts to promote peace. He was recognized not just for his role in developing the atomic bomb, but also for his commitment to using science responsibly. His legacy is one of brilliance, integrity, and a deep concern for humanity. Robert Oppenheimer's life in post-war America was marked by both triumph and controversy. He navigated the complex landscape of nuclear policy and international relations with a focus on ethical responsibility. His work at the Institute for Advanced Study helped shape the future of scientific research, and his public advocacy influenced debates on nuclear weapons and global security. Through his experiences, Oppenheimer learned that the pursuit of knowledge comes with great responsibility. He believed that scientists must consider the broader implications of their work and strive to use their discoveries for the betterment of society. His story is a reminder of the power of science and the importance of guiding it with wisdom and compassion. As we reflect on Oppenheimer's journey, we see a man who faced immense challenges and made significant contributions to science and humanity. His dedication to ethical principles and his vision for a peaceful world continue to inspire us today. Chapter 9: The Red Scare and Security Hearings. The years following World War II were tense and uncertain. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a Cold War, a period of political and military rivalry. Fear of communism spread across America, leading to a time known as the Red Scare. During this time, many people were accused of being communists or communist sympathizers. One of these people was Robert Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer had become a well-known figure because of his work on the atomic bomb. He was respected in the scientific community and had played a key role in advising the government on nuclear policy. However, his outspoken views and connections with people who had communist ties made him a target. In 1954, the Atomic Energy Commission, AEC, called Oppenheimer to a security hearing. They questioned his loyalty to the United States and his suitability to hold a security clearance. The hearings were part of a larger effort to root out communist influence in American institutions. The charges against Oppenheimer were serious. The AEC accused him of having associations with communists, being a security risk, and obstructing the development of the hydrogen bomb. These accusations were based on his past friendships and political activities from the 1930s, when he had been sympathetic to left-wing causes. The hearings were intense and highly publicized. They took place in a small room in Washington, D.C., but the whole country was watching. Oppenheimer had to defend himself against a barrage of questions. He was asked about his political beliefs, his friendships, and his actions during his time as the head of the Manhattan Project. Oppenheimer admitted that he had associated with communists in the past, but insisted that he had never been disloyal to the United States. He explained that his interest in social justice had led him to support causes that aimed to help the poor and oppressed. However, he denied ever being a member of the Communist Party or participating in any activities that would harm the country. Throughout the hearings, Oppenheimer remained calm and composed, but the process was grueling. The stress took a toll on him and his family. His wife, Kitty, stood by his side, but the strain was evident. Friends and colleagues watched in dismay as Oppenheimer's reputation was attacked. Many prominent scientists and officials testified in Oppenheimer's defense. They spoke of his dedication to his work and his contributions to national security. They argued that his scientific achievements and his leadership during the Manhattan Project showed his loyalty and commitment to the United States. Despite these testimonials, the AEC was determined to make an example of Oppenheimer. The political climate of the time was charged with fear and suspicion, and the government wanted to demonstrate that it was taking strong action against any perceived threats. In the end, the AEC decided to revoke Oppenheimer's security clearance. This decision effectively ended his role as a government advisor on nuclear matters. The hearing concluded that while there was no direct evidence of disloyalty, Oppenheimer's past associations and his opposition to the hydrogen bomb made him a security risk. The outcome of the hearings was a severe blow to Oppenheimer. It damaged his career and his reputation. He felt betrayed by a government he had served faithfully. The hearings left a deep scar, and Oppenheimer withdrew from public life to some extent, focusing more on his work at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton. Despite the personal and professional impact, Oppenheimer continued to contribute to science and education. He remained a respected figure among his peers and continued to write and lecture on the ethical implications of scientific research. His experiences during the hearings reinforced his belief in the importance of transparency, integrity, and the responsible use of scientific knowledge. The Red Scare and the security hearings were a dark chapter in American history. They reflected the intense fear and suspicion of the time. Many people's lives and careers were disrupted by accusations of disloyalty. For Oppenheimer, the hearings were a painful reminder of the political risks that come with being a public figure and an outspoken advocate for controversial ideas. In the years that followed, public opinion began to shift. People started to see the hearings for what they were: a politically motivated attack during a time of national paranoia. Historians and scholars reassessed Oppenheimer's contributions and his treatment during the Red Scare. Over time, his reputation was restored, and he was recognized for his significant role in advancing science and technology. Oppenheimer's story is a testament to the complex interplay between science, politics, and personal integrity. It shows how easily fear can lead to injustice and how important it is to stand up for truth and fairness, even in difficult times. His experience during the Red Scare serves as a powerful lesson about the need for vigilance in protecting the rights and freedoms of individuals, especially in times of crisis. As we reflect on this period, we see the importance of understanding the past to ensure that we do not repeat its mistakes. Oppenheimer's life and career, marked by both extraordinary achievements and profound challenges, offer valuable insights into the responsibilities and risks that come with scientific advancement and public service. His legacy continues to inspire us to pursue knowledge with a sense of responsibility and to stand firm in our principles, even in the face of adversity. Chapter 10: Later Years and Legacy. As Robert Oppenheimer entered his later years, he continued to be a significant figure in the world of science. Despite the difficult period of the security hearings, he remained committed to his work and his passion for understanding the universe. In 1947, Oppenheimer had become the director of the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey. This was a place where some of the greatest minds in science, mathematics, and philosophy came together to explore big ideas. Under his leadership, the Institute flourished. Oppenheimer encouraged collaboration and interdisciplinary research, which led to many important scientific advancements. During these years, Oppenheimer reflected deeply on his past work, especially the development of the atomic bomb. He often thought about the ethical implications of scientific research and the responsibility of scientists to society. He believed that science should be used to improve the world and not to destroy it. This belief guided his actions and his teachings. Oppenheimer's thoughts on science and ethics was shaped by his experiences during the war and the Red Scare. He understood the power of scientific discoveries and the importance of using them wisely. He often spoke about these issues in his lectures and writings, hoping to inspire future generations of scientists to consider the moral consequences of their work. One of Oppenheimer's most famous lectures was delivered in 1953 at Columbia University. In this lecture, he spoke about the relationship between science and society. He emphasized that scientific progress must be matched with moral progress. He argued that scientists have a duty to think about how their work affects the world and to act responsibly. His words resonated with many people and sparked important discussions about the role of science in society. Even after the security hearings, Oppenheimer remained active in the scientific community. He continued to publish papers and attend conferences. He also mentored young scientists, sharing his knowledge and experience with the next generation. Many of his students went on to make significant contributions to physics and other fields. In 1963, President John F. Kennedy awarded Oppenheimer the Enrico Fermi Award, one of the highest honors in science. This award recognized his contributions to theoretical physics and his leadership in the development of the atomic bomb. The award was a significant moment for Oppenheimer, as it symbolized a public acknowledgement of his achievements and his service to the country. Oppenheimer's health began to decline in the early 1960s. He was diagnosed with throat cancer, likely caused by years of heavy smoking. Despite his illness, he remained active and engaged with his work. He continued to write and think deeply about the future of science and the world. In his final years, Oppenheimer spent a lot of time at his home in Princeton. He enjoyed reading, gardening, and spending time with his family. He often reflected on his life and his journey as a scientist. He knew that his work had made a significant impact, but he also understood the heavy responsibility that came with it. Robert Oppenheimer passed away on February 18, 1967, at the age of 62. His death was a great loss to the scientific community and to all those who had been inspired by his work and his ideas. However, his legacy lived on. Oppenheimer's contributions to physics were immense. He played a key role in developing quantum mechanics, a field that revolutionized our understanding of the atomic world. His work on the atomic bomb, though controversial, demonstrated the incredible potential of scientific research. His leadership at the Institute for Advanced Study helped shape the direction of scientific inquiry for decades. Beyond his scientific achievements, Oppenheimer's legacy also includes his thoughts on ethics and responsibility in science. He believed that scientists must always consider the moral implications of their work. This idea has become an important part of scientific education and practice. Today, many scientific organizations and institutions emphasize the importance of ethical conduct and social responsibility. Oppenheimer's life story is a powerful reminder of the complex relationship between science and society. It shows how scientific discoveries can bring both great benefits and great dangers. It also highlights the importance of using knowledge wisely and with a sense of responsibility. As we look back on Oppenheimer's life, we see a man who was driven by curiosity and a desire to understand the world. He faced many challenges and made difficult choices, but he remained committed to his principles. His work has left a lasting impact on science and on our understanding of the role of scientists in society. Oppenheimer's legacy continues to inspire scientists and thinkers around the world. His ideas about the ethical use of science are more relevant today than ever. In a world where technology is advancing rapidly, Oppenheimer's message reminds us to consider the broader impact of our actions and to strive for progress that benefits all of humanity. Through his achievements and his reflections, Robert Oppenheimer has left us with a profound legacy. He showed us the power of science and the importance of using it wisely. His life story is a testament to the potential of human ingenuity and the enduring need for ethical guidance in the pursuit of knowledge. Chapter 10: Later Years and Legacy. As Robert Oppenheimer moved into the later years of his life, he remained an important figure in science. Despite the difficult time he had during the security hearings, he continued to work hard and think deeply about the world. His leadership at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey, helped many young scientists grow and learn. At the Institute, Oppenheimer was surrounded by brilliant minds. He worked with famous scientists like Albert Einstein. Together, they explored big questions about the universe. Oppenheimer encouraged everyone to share their ideas and work together. This spirit of cooperation led to many new discoveries. Oppenheimer often thought about his past work, especially the development of the atomic bomb. He knew that his creation had changed the world forever. He believed that scientists had a duty to use their knowledge wisely. He wanted to make sure that science was used to help people, not hurt them. In 1953, Oppenheimer gave a famous lecture at Columbia University. In this lecture, he talked about the relationship between science and society. He said that scientists must think about how their work affects the world. He believed that scientific progress should come with moral progress. His words inspired many people to think about the ethical side of science. Even though Oppenheimer was no longer an advisor to the government, he stayed active in the scientific community. He published papers and went to conferences. He also mentored young scientists, sharing his knowledge and experience with them. Many of his students went on to make important contributions to science. In 1963, President John F. Kennedy awarded Oppenheimer the Enrico Fermi Award. This was one of the highest honors in science. It recognized his contributions to theoretical physics and his leadership in the development of the atomic bomb. The award was an important moment for Oppenheimer. It showed that his work was valued and appreciated. Oppenheimer's health started to decline in the early 1960s. He was diagnosed with throat cancer, probably because he had smoked heavily for many years. Despite his illness, he continued to work. He wrote articles and thought deeply about the future of science and the world. During his final years, Oppenheimer spent a lot of time at his home in Princeton. He enjoyed reading and gardening. He also spent time with his family. He often reflected on his life and his journey as a scientist. He knew that his work had made a big impact, but he also felt the weight of the responsibility that came with it. Robert Oppenheimer passed away on February 18, 1967, at the age of 62. His death was a great loss to the scientific community and to all those who had been inspired by his work. However, his legacy lived on. Oppenheimer's contributions to physics were huge. He played a key role in developing quantum mechanics, a field that changed our understanding of atoms and particles. His work on the atomic bomb showed the incredible power of scientific research. His leadership at the Institute for Advanced Study helped shape the future of scientific research. Beyond his scientific achievements, Oppenheimer's legacy also includes his thoughts on ethics and responsibility in science. He believed that scientists must always think about the moral implications of their work. This idea has become an important part of scientific education and practice. Today, many scientific organizations and institutions emphasize the importance of ethical conduct and social responsibility. Oppenheimer's life story is a powerful reminder of the complex relationship between science and society. It shows how scientific discoveries can bring both great benefits and great dangers. It also highlights the importance of using knowledge wisely and with a sense of responsibility. As we look back on Oppenheimer's life, we see a man who was driven by curiosity and a desire to understand the world. He faced many challenges and made difficult choices, but he remained committed to his principles. His work has left a lasting impact on science and on our understanding of the role of scientists in society. Oppenheimer's legacy continues to inspire scientists and thinkers around the world. His ideas about the ethical use of science are more relevant today than ever. In a world where technology is advancing rapidly, Oppenheimer's message reminds us to consider the broader impact of our actions and to strive for progress that benefits all of humanity. Through his achievements and his reflections, Robert Oppenheimer has left us with a profound legacy. He showed us the power of science and the importance of using it wisely. His life story is a testament to the potential of human ingenuity and the enduring need for ethical guidance in the pursuit of knowledge. Chapter 11. Honors and Recognition. Robert Oppenheimer was a brilliant scientist whose work had a profound impact on the world. Throughout his life, he received many honors and recognitions for his contributions to science and society. These awards celebrated his achievements and acknowledged his influence in the field of physics. One of the most significant honors Oppenheimer received was the Enrico Fermi Award in 1963. This award was one of the highest honors given by the United States government for scientific achievement. It recognized Oppenheimer's outstanding contributions to theoretical physics and his leadership in the development of the atomic bomb. President John F. Kennedy presented the award, and it was a moment of great pride for Oppenheimer. The award showed that his work was valued and appreciated by the nation. In addition to the Enrico Fermi Award, Oppenheimer received many honorary degrees from prestigious universities around the world. These degrees were given in recognition of his contributions to science and his impact on education. Some of the universities that honored him included Harvard University, Princeton University, and the University of Oxford. Each degree was a testament to Oppenheimer's influence and his dedication to advancing knowledge. Oppenheimer was also elected to several important scientific societies. He became a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences and the National Academy of Sciences. These memberships were significant because they recognized Oppenheimer as one of the leading scientists of his time. Being part of these societies allowed him to collaborate with other top scientists and continue his important work. Throughout his career, Oppenheimer was invited to speak at many prestigious conferences and universities. His lectures were always well received, and he was known for his ability to explain complex scientific ideas in a way that was easy to understand. He spoke about his research, the ethical implications of scientific work, and the future of science. His speeches inspired many young scientists and students to pursue careers in physics and other scientific fields. Even after his death in 1967, Oppenheimer's legacy continued to be honored and recognized. Many institutions and organizations have established awards and lectures in his name. These honors ensure that his contributions to science and his thoughts on ethical responsibility remain part of the scientific community. One such honor is the J. Robert Oppenheimer Memorial Prize, established in 1969. This prize is awarded to individuals who have made significant contributions to theoretical physics. It celebrates Oppenheimer's impact on the field and encourages new generations of scientists to continue exploring the mysteries of the universe. In addition to awards and prizes, several institutions have created lectureships in Oppenheimer's name. These lectureships invite prominent scientists to speak about their work and share their insights with students and researchers. The goal is to continue the tradition of intellectual curiosity and ethical reflection that Oppenheimer championed throughout his life. Oppenheimer's legacy is also preserved in various museums and historical sites. The Los Alamos National Laboratory, where Oppenheimer led the Manhattan Project, has a museum dedicated to the history of the atomic bomb and the scientists who developed it. The museum includes exhibits about Oppenheimer's life and work, allowing visitors to learn about his contributions and the ethical dilemmas he faced. Moreover, Oppenheimer's story has been told in many books, documentaries, and films. These works explore his life, his scientific achievements, and the moral questions surrounding the development of the atomic bomb. They help keep his legacy alive and ensure that future generations understand the complexities of his work and the impact it had on the world. Oppenheimer's honors and recognitions reflect his profound influence on science and society. They celebrate his achievements and acknowledge the challenges he faced in balancing scientific progress with ethical responsibility. His legacy serves as a reminder of the importance of using knowledge wisely and considering the broader implications of scientific work. As we look back on Oppenheimer's life, we see a man who was dedicated to understanding the universe and improving the world through science. His contributions have left a lasting mark on the field of physics and on the way we think about the responsibilities of scientists. His honors and recognitions are a testament to his enduring impact and the respect he earned from his peers and the broader community. Oppenheimer's story is one of brilliance, dedication, and reflection. His life and work continue to inspire scientists and thinkers around the world. His legacy reminds us of the power of science to change the world and the importance of using that power responsibly. Through his achievements and the honors he received, Oppenheimer's influence lives on, guiding and inspiring future generations to explore the wonders of the universe with wisdom and care. Chapter 12. Reflections on a Complex Legacy. Robert Oppenheimer was a man of many talents and deep thoughts. His life was full of achievements, but also marked by difficult choices and moral dilemmas. As we reflect on his journey, we see a complex legacy that continues to influence science and society. Oppenheimer was born in 1904 in New York City. From a young age, he showed a great love for learning. He was curious about everything around him and had a special interest in science. This passion led him to study at some of the best universities in the world, including Harvard University and the University of Göttingen in Germany. In the 1930s, Oppenheimer became a professor at the University of California, Berkeley. There, he made important contributions to the field of quantum mechanics, which studies the behavior of particles at the atomic level. His work earned him respect and recognition among his peers. But it was during World War II that Oppenheimer's life took a dramatic turn. He was chosen to lead the Manhattan Project, a secret government program to develop the atomic bomb. The project brought together some of the brightest minds in science to create a weapon that could end the war. Oppenheimer's leadership and vision were crucial to the project's success. On July 16, 1945, the first atomic bomb was tested in the New Mexico desert. The test, known as the Trinity test, was a success. The bomb worked, releasing an enormous amount of energy. This moment changed the course of history and marked the beginning of the nuclear age. Soon after, atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. The destruction was immense, and many lives were lost. Japan surrendered, and World War II came to an end. But the use of the atomic bomb raised serious moral questions. Oppenheimer himself was deeply affected by the devastation. He famously quoted the Bhagavad Gita, saying, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." After the war, Oppenheimer became a public figure, speaking about the dangers of nuclear weapons. He believed that such powerful technology should be controlled and used responsibly. He advised the government on nuclear policy and argued against the development of even more powerful bombs. However, during the Red Scare in the 1950s, Oppenheimer faced accusations of being disloyal to the United States. He was questioned about his past associations with communists and his opposition to certain nuclear weapons. The security hearings were intense and damaging. In the end, his security clearance was revoked, and his role as a government advisor was effectively ended. Despite this setback, Oppenheimer continued to contribute to science. He became the director of the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, where he worked with other great scientists, including Albert Einstein. He continued to write, lecture, and inspire young scientists. Oppenheimer's later years were marked by reflection on his life and work. He received many honors, including the Enrico Fermi Award in 1963, which recognized his contributions to theoretical physics and his leadership during the Manhattan Project. His health began to decline, and he passed away in 1967 at the age of 62. Reflecting on Oppenheimer's life, we see a man who was both brilliant and conflicted. His contributions to science were immense. He helped develop quantum mechanics and led the effort to create the atomic bomb, a feat of engineering and scientific ingenuity. However, his work on the bomb also brought about great destruction, and he spent much of his later life advocating for the responsible use of nuclear technology. Oppenheimer's personality was complex. He was known for his intelligence and quick wit, but also for his introspective and sometimes melancholic nature. He loved literature and philosophy, often drawing on these fields to make sense of his scientific work. He was a leader who inspired many, but he also faced criticism and political attacks. The moral questions surrounding Oppenheimer's work on the atomic bomb are still discussed today. The bomb ended the war, but caused tremendous suffering. Oppenheimer's reflections on this highlight the ethical responsibilities that come with scientific discovery. He believed that scientists must consider the impact of their work on humanity and strive to use their knowledge for good. Today, Oppenheimer is remembered as one of the most significant scientists of the 20th century. His work laid the foundation for many advancements in physics. His leadership during the Manhattan Project demonstrated the power of scientific collaboration. His thoughts on ethics and responsibility continue to influence discussions on the role of science in society. Oppenheimer's story is a reminder of the potential and challenges of scientific discovery. It shows us that with great power comes great responsibility. As we look to the future, we can learn from Oppenheimer's legacy, striving to use science to build a better, more ethical world.